Wave your hand. If you can hear me, wave your hand. Everybody who can hear me, wave your hand. Just having a cool Saturday discussion with the family, real quick. Just want the folks to chime in, and I want to see if anybody disagrees. The question, I'm hold on. I said, does you? Hold on, let me revamp this. Hold on. Do you? Okay. Okay. I had to revamp the question there. All right. So we're talking about reparations. Right now, the political season is wrapping back up. A lot of foundational Black Americans are saying, hey man, we gotta have a reparations agenda. The Democrats, we've sat here and we supported them for so long, and they're giving money to all these other groups, and they're not doing anything specifically for foundational Black Americans. So we're telling them the agenda is going to have to be reparations. And there's this taboo thing where people seem afraid to talk about reparations for foundational Black Americans openly. So I would like to talk to some people who actually disagrees with foundational Black Americans getting reparations. Are there any people here who would disagree with that? There's a lot of people coming in the room right now. We got a couple of hundred right now. Let me see some hands. Let me see some hands of some people who disagree with foundational Black Americans getting reparations. And let me see some of these folks in here. I'm going to let them speak in a second. Hold on. Let's get some of these folks in here. BG, turn your mic on. Saw you were one of the first people in here. BG, if you can turn your mic on, that would be great. I saw you requested. Um,
Look, Baylor's got to win.
okay, I don't know what he said. Uh, so he sounds like he was at a meth lab. So let's get some other people here. See, when it's time to talk about something real, we get people kind of trying to goof off and deflect. We're not going to have that. Let's have some real conversation in here. What's up, Roman? Roman's up. Let's get Roman in here. Roman, let's have you speak on it. What's up, Roman?
You talking to me? So, yeah. So, how do you decide who gets reparations? Is it like one drop rule, paper bag test, DNA? Like, is it like is it a sliding scale of how much reparations you get?
No, it's the same way you give them to Native Americans. The people who claim Native American ancestry, same way. It's not
Well,
rocket.
what happens if you don't know your ancestry? Like, what if you're like a bastard or something, or like, you're a foster kid? How do you know?
Well, if you're a foster kid, you would kind of know who your birth parents were to a certain degree. You might know to a certain degree, but those are outliers. Generally, people know if they were descended from American slaves, and that's who the reparations would be for, people who descended from American slaves.
Well,
It's not
so how do you prove it? Like, what's the proof?
the proof is if you're on the 1870 census, you are most likely a foundational Black American who descended from slaves. It's that
But
simple.
not everybody's going to be able to prove that. So, like, is it, is it like, what is it like a 1/8 rule or a quarter or like, like,
Well, if you can't prove that, you can't get reparations. It's that simple. Because a lot of people did come here after slavery, but if you can prove that you were on
right?
that,
But there's lots of black people that can only go back so many generations with their, with their ancestry. So, like, they're not going to be able to prove that.
yeah, you can trace your ancestry back. You can trace your. What do you mean? Well, you think Black people can't trace their ancestry back to the 1870 census?
No, I mean, some I'm sure can, but there's probably a lot that they can't. Right? There's a good amount of black people that don't know who their parents are.
That's rare. People know who their parents are. What are you talking about?
Or like their father, like so what if you're like mixed race or something and you have like a black father,
Great
that
question.
that
Great question, because there's
that
some.
that, that abandoned you, right? That's pretty common.
Okay. 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 So yeah, you're trolling low key, but that's fine because that means you don't really have a real constructive input to this. Because
I
now
mean, like, so
but
like
you're reducing.
the
But
reality is
sir,
that there's going to be
no,
plenty
no,
of.
sir, are you trolling? If you're trolling, let's
No,
just.
I mean, I'll stop with that. I'll stop with that.
Okay, yeah, if you're trolling, just say that because if you're not going to be constructive, what's the.
I'll be constructive and stop with that. My
Okay,
point
well,
is that all of you are not going to be able to prove. So there's going to be a
that's not true.
percentage that aren't going to be able to prove their ancestry. So what
Which
is it
is very
like?
small.
You
Which
gonna
is a.
do the paper bag test or the one drop rule? I mean, there's what if you like what about like the people that are maybe like 10% foundational Black American, do they get reparations?
How do you know if they're 10% or not?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking you.
I mean, what makes a person 10%
Well,
foundational Black?
most African Americans today are about like 10 to 20% white on average by DNA tests. So what if it's like the opposite? What if you're just 10% Black? You're mixed, right? You're 10% Black. Do you get reparations?
Well, the thing is, if you're classified as Black, see, you have to be classified as Black now. If you're
So what
classified
what
as Black,
classifies you as Black?
the white supremacists classify that.
So I
Your
mean,
sir, your community made the classifications. You guys know who a Black person is. You know
just like you know
exactly
who a white person is, but
right. You guys know
but
who a
so
Black
so
person.
but what if they
Wait,
they're
stop,
just ten
sir. Wait,
percent Black? Do they?
hold on. When it comes to us getting tangibles, all of a sudden there's this feigned confusion. You know who's a Black person and who's not a Black person. That your community created those standards and rules. So if a Black person who's classified as Black now can trace their ancestry back to foundational Black Americans who descended from slaves, they are qualified for reparations. That makes sense?
Sure. So basically, your bottom line is if you can't trace it back, you don't get the money.
Right. You cannot.
Okay. Good enough. That's what answers my question. I mean, I think there's probably going to be some people that might be considered Black that disagree with that.
Well, no, if they can't trace it back, they just can't get it. It's just that simple. We have to make parameters like that. Just like with Native Americans, there's a lot of people who are Native American, but they don't have the right paperwork, so they can't get some of the earmarked funds for the tribes that they are supposed
Well,
to be associated with.
well, with Native Americans, they can actually probably take a DNA test, and that's going to be factual. But with Black Americans or foundational Black Americans, whatever you're calling it, like the DNA test might not prove that your ancestors came over as slaves. That
But the
they could
D,
have came over later.
but if a person who's a Native American, if they take a DNA test, they have to have certain markers associated with certain tribes. And with DNA, a lot of the markers for certain tribes aren't there. There were hundreds of tribes over here.
Right. I mean that's getting better as sample sizes increase, though.
Right, because basically, when you do a DNA test, they trace everybody either to Africa, Europe, and Asia. So the Native Americans, many of them came from Asia and Africa. Many of them were actually African people themselves. So even if we take DNA tests, it's all going to trace back to Africa anyway. So the DNA tests are kind of sketchy to a certain degree when it comes to tribal distinctions. So,
All
all right,
right.
but
I
anyway,
mean,
all right.
fair enough. Like, so you don't believe that if somebody's like a certain percent Black and can't prove it, that they don't get the money. All right, I understand.
Well, I don't know what a certain percent is because your community.
There's gonna be a certain a good percentage of foundational what you call foundational Black Americans that aren't going to be able to prove it like with their paperwork, right? They're just not going to have it.
But most of them will. It's
Right. Maybe so, but like,
yeah. If
how's
you have
that fair to these people that just can't, that don't have the paperwork?
yeah, if you have a mother or grand, you know who your parents are. You know
Right. But
somebody raised you, and you can trace their lineage back. It's not
if
hard.
you not, I mean, not necessarily. Not there's going to be a good percentage of people that aren't going to be able to do that.
They just won't get
Maybe not the majority, but still a
right.
good percentage of people aren't going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So I don't think how's that fair to them?
Well, most black people can. Most black people
But
can do.
I understand that the majority probably can, but there's going to be that significant. It's going to be a significant. It's going to be thousands of people, right? Like if you look at the whole United States. So how's
Right.
that fair to them?
Well, is it fair to Native Americans who can't do it? Because there's some Native Americans who don't get any money because they can't trace their so-called lineage back, or they're not associated with a certain tribe because they don't have the federal paperwork. So is it fair to them? There's a lot of um, unfederally recognized tribes that
Well,
don't.
it's not usually with Native Americans. It's not necessarily like federal reparations per se. It's like if you get casino money, and that's kind of like if the tribe themselves decides that you're a member of the tribe to give you that casino money.
Then they get checks. Some of these tribes get monthly checks, so that's a form of reparations. And there are some tribes that are not federally recognized, and there are some tribes that just became federally recognized. The Shanticock out there in New York, they recently got federally recognized. So there are a lot of tribes out here who are still fighting for federal recognition.
Right,
So,
they get the Indian healthcare service, right? You know, like they get that free healthcare, which is kind of shitty, but they still get it.
and
But
that
I mean, the majority of their reparations are coming from casino payouts, and the tribes themselves
not
decide
true.
if you get that.
No, they get federal funds. If you go look up federal money that's allocated, that
Sure,
Native
sure. I'm not saying that that doesn't
a lot of
exist.
they
I'm
get a
not saying, yeah, I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm saying the majority of like what they did for Native Americans is casino payouts, and the tribes themselves decide who gets them. So
and
that's where the
also
majority of them their their quote unquote reparations is coming from, is the
no,
casinos.
that's not true. That's not true. A lot of their money comes from the federal government, and
Yeah,
not
no,
only
that exists, right? I'm not saying it doesn't. It exists, but like a lot of their money comes from the casinos, and the tribes decide if those people who is part of their tribe that gets that.
and another thing, if we're going to talk about fairness, most of the people now in America who claims Native American ancestry aren't even Native American.
I agree with you.
They're really white people. They're
Yeah, I agree with you. It's like this
Is
whole
that fair?
noble savage thing that they want to be a part of. Yeah, I agree.
Right. They paid money under the table to be labeled Native American. So that took away money that was supposed to be given to real Native Americans. So we're going to talk about fairness. We're going to have to knock out all of that first. But black people, we know pretty much our ancestry to a certain degree as it relates to our tracing our lineage back to plantations here in America. So we're pretty thorough as far as that.
Yeah, I still don't know about it. You're going to have thousands of people that aren't going to have the paperwork.
Well, some of those may not get the money, but the millions of us who do have the paperwork, and it's not that hard to trace your lineage back to those censuses, we will get our paper, and that's going to be the most important thing, is that we get that first step forward.
So how much money is this going to be? How like what do you think is you're going to get?
A little bit more than what the Native American tribes got. I'm looking at around 20 trillion for starters. It should start at 20 trillion. What would you suggest?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not. I don't try to play victim.
Okay. Well, you
I
play
mean,
victim.
you were never a slave, so.
Well, you're
I mean,
victimizer.
you guys pretty much. I mean, in my opinion, like if you were a
Sir.
Black American, you pretty much hit the lottery by what you know. Slavery was horrible, right? But
Mhm.
the average income on the west coast of Africa is about like $2,000. That's where most of your ancestors came from.
Prove
So
it. Prove it.
slavery,
Prove it.
like you
Prove
can look
it.
it up.
Prove it.
Look at
You
the.
just,
I
sir,
mean,
you're throwing numbers out. Nobody in my family has lived in Africa for 500
no, no,
years.
no. I'm not
Prove it.
saying that. I'm not saying that. So,
Prove it.
well, like
Nobody.
if you take the
Why are you
majority
talking,
of,
sir? Why are you talking about Africa? I'm a foundational Black American. I
I
don't live.
understand that, but
But what does
basically,
Africa have to do with this?
I'll explain. So basically, because of slavery was horrible. I don't think that slavery should have happened. It was a horrible thing, but like Black people in America are the richest Black people in the world, not compared to like white people, but compared to other Black people the world over. So basically, but by what happened to your ancestors, you all basically hit the lottery, and now you are the richest Black people in the world.
No, hitting the lottery is when you sit up and money just falls in your lap. My family built this nation from the ground up. That's not hitting the lottery.
No,
That's
no,
called work.
your family picked
That's called
cotton. It was actually about 5% of the economy during slavery. So U.S. would have been fine without it. It was literally
no,
about 5% of the U.S. economy.
no. It wasn't just cotton. It wasn't just cotton. We developed this land. We tilled the soil. We cleared the brush. We cleared the wooded areas. We
Yeah.
built this thing
So
from scratch.
being you when somebody's like being a laborer isn't being the architect, right?
Okay. Yes, it is.
So
But
hanging drywall doesn't mean you built,
okay,
like
sir.
you're the architect.
Many of the Black people were the architects.
They
Okay.
weren't though. They
Yes, they
weren't though.
okay,
Like
well,
a
let me ask,
like a like a
sir, let me
tiny
ask you
small
this. Okay,
minority.
sir, let me ask you this. If we weren't the architects and we were just the laborers, how come your family didn't do it by themselves? Every white European colony that tried to start over here without Black Americans helping them, they all failed. Every single one.
So
Why did they
I mean,
fail?
that's because why do it when you have free labor? The thing is
Okay, sir,
it
sir,
inhibited the industrial
sir, sir.
revolution, and
No, no,
slavery
no,
was
no, sir.
actually
You're deflecting, sir.
detrimental to the United
Sir,
States.
no, sir. Let's go back. You're deflecting. Your family, your community, the white supremacists who tried to start colonies in the Americas, every single one of them failed when they tried to do
That's
it
not
on
true.
their own. Okay, name one who didn't fail without Black people helping them. Name them.
Like Plymouth, there weren't even Black people then.
That was yeah. Are you insane?
They didn't have Black people there. There was like Native
They
Americans,
came
but
after.
there
They
was like
came.
the Virginia colonies. Like
What year? What year did they go to Plymouth?
I don't know off the top of my
Okay,
head. I
okay,
mean,
you're
it's
just
like
throwing, sir. After 1619, that's when black people started helping them directly on these plantations and these
Helping them,
colonies.
like you were
Yes,
like
helping.
laborers.
Yeah, okay, but before black labor, how come you couldn't do it on your own before 1619?
People did it. Like, I mean,
No, they didn't. No,
yes, they
no,
did.
no, name a colony that succeeded without black people before 1619. Name it.
I mean, I don't have like notes in front of
Because
me, but
it
I mean,
doesn't
it's like
exist.
patently untrue. Like,
Because
that's
okay, then
heavily true.
disprove it.
So why?
Name
How
one.
come? How come
Name one.
every?
Sir,
Then how
stop,
come?
stop,
All right,
stop. Name one. I can name the
all
ones
right.
that failed. San Miguel de Agape, that failed. St. Augustine, that failed. All of them failed. Name one that didn't fail. That white people were doing by themselves. Name one.
I mean, I don't know off the top of my
Thank you
head.
very much. Thank you.
So
Thank
so
you. You
let me
don't.
ask
Okay.
you.
Thank
So
you.
so let
Thank
me
you,
ask
sir.
you.
Thank you.
How
Thank you.
come
Thank you.
everywhere white
Thank
people?
you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. There we go. All right. All right. Got rid of him. So he's trolling now. Okay. All right. Just yeah. If you can't name one, if you're gonna sit here babbling and deflecting, that means you can't, and the conversation is over. See, that's how you handle that. If we were just laborers and the white people were so great, well, how come you couldn't build this nation by yourself? And as we see, he could not name any colony that was successful without black people. Let's get this game straight. We didn't win no lottery. Working and building from scratch ain't a damn lottery. That's foundational Black Americans building from scratch. Your community couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. Every single one of them failed. Every single colony that the white supremacists tried to start on their own, they failed. This is historic fact. Not only did they failed miserably. This is why we need to know history, ladies and gentlemen. So when you talk to suspected white supremacists like that, you know how to handle them and get them out of here. Let's get some more folks in here. And by the way, my new book, Foundational Black American Race Beta, is available right now. You go to Amazon, check out my book, Foundational Black American Race Beta. You can get a copy of it right now on Amazon. I see you, Dante. Let me see some more. We got a lot of folks in here. All right, let's get some more people in here. Let's get who do we have? Well, we got a lot of people, and they said he tried to play the troll route, and then he got embarrassed by the troll route, and then when he couldn't do it on an intellectual level, he went back to trolling. Let me get Dante. Dante, you were in here before the other day, right? Hop back on, Dante. What's up, Dante?
Not much. I'm actually at work right now, but
Oh, well, you were on here the other day, right? When I was live,
yeah,
right?
I
Okay.
was. I
Yeah.
was.
Okay. Yeah. You were bragging
Can I
about
ask
getting
for
some. You were bragging about getting some new followers. You liked the clout that you were getting, right?
the amount of people who agreed with me in your DMs was pretty crazy. I didn't actually know people like you genuinely believe that Obama was a plant by the white supremacist society. So I learned a new thing today, or then.
A plant. I
And I
didn't. But
also
those are your words. I never said.
Nah, man. You have it recorded that you think Obama was literally part of a plan,
Okay. I
and
didn't
he
say plant.
was.
Okay. Let's stop. Okay. First, you're not going to reframe what I said.
Your
I
stuff is
didn't
still
say he was a
recorded,
plant.
man.
I
It's
know it's
still out
recorded.
there.
And I didn't say nothing about him being a plant. I said he was a tool of white supremacy,
All
not a
right. Well,
plant. A
that's the
plant, I
first.
don't know what that means. But don't frame my words. I said what I said. I'm not
All
afraid
right.
of.
So Obama was a
Let's
tool
be
of white
clear.
supremacy.
Hold on,
Fine.
Dante. I'm not afraid of any of you suspected white supremacists. I'll say what I say, and I mean what I say. I
Labels,
don't have to
labels,
you don't
labels.
have to reframe what I said. I'm not afraid of none of you. But go ahead. Now, what do you have to say?
And I'm not afraid of being
What,
called a suspected white supremacist because I'm not. And you just like to throw that around when people disagree with you.
Oh no, if you disagree with producing justice, then I would suspect that you're a white supremacist.
All
So
right,
you are
so
correct.
how much
So you are
justice are you
correct.
going to produce with your new book sales? How much of your book sales will you
Okay,
be donating to black charities? And
that is jealousy talk. How much of
I'm
your benefits?
curious.
How much of the benefits from white supremacy are you doing to produce justice?
Oh, I work minimum wage, man. There's nothing.
Okay,
I
but
don't know what I can
you
do.
have $1 million worth of whiteness, sir. That
I
your
do.
job
Can
don't
I
mean.
sell my skin to you?
Yeah, yeah, hey, you get the Kyle Rittenhouse treatment. As we see, Kyle Rittenhouse got $1 million worth of
I
legal
work at
based on his
a
skin.
minimum wage
Well, yeah,
place,
yeah,
man.
yeah. Don't matter. You got $1 million worth of whiteness. So, how are you using your $1 million to help produce justice?
I don't know, man. I got like 20 in my bank account right now.
Okay, all right. Well,
And college times are tough.
all right, Dante. So, thank you very much. Go back to work at the mayonnaise factory. You have a great day, sir. You
That's
have a
pretty
great
racist.
day. Okay, all right. Got Dante out of here. I don't want to hear mayonnaise explaining. Okay. Yeah, I don't want to hear whining. people, me, boy, they hate to see a black man doing anything successful, don't they? Let's get some more people in here. We need to talk about this reparations, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking about reparations. I want to see some people who disagree. Anybody who disagree, talk to me. Let me know what's on your mind. What time is it right now? Okay, let me get some more folks in here. Okay, well, some of these troll accounts in here are just so obvious. Okay, a lot of suspected white supremacist troll accounts in here. Okay, let's see who this guy is. Well, we got a lot of folks in here. What's up, Shop Fett? Okay, let's get Shop Fett in here. What's up, Shop Fett? Okay, he bounced. Okay, if you don't want to get in here, don't raise your hand. Okay, let me see who we got. Okay, let's see Festive. Okay, okay, I think I had you on before. That's the Irish dude. Podgy Elite. I think I had you in here before. Let me add him very quickly. I think I had him in here before. What's up? I'm turning your mic on, buddy. What's up, man? Didn't I have you in here before, Podgy?
On the other day, yeah.
Oh, okay, you're the Irish dude. So
Well,
what's
I'm
on
doing
your,
a more festive team starting
oh,
today. You
okay,
know, yeah.
okay. What's on your mind?
I don't know. I don't think much about the reparations thing. You know, it's a foreign issue to me, really. But like, it's interesting. It's an interesting discussion to have anyway. That's for sure.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's get more people in here. Okay, because you're just babbling. All right. Now this person right here. Okay. Let's see what they got to say. Um, GH. Let me hear what you have to say, GH. All right. We got GH in here. All right. Turn your mic on and let's hear what you have to say.
Hello.
Hey, what's up, GH?
Hello. What's up?
All right. What's on your mind, GH?
About representation?
Yeah.
Blacks should get it.
How old are you, GH? You sound very young.
I'm 18.
Okay. So you think we should get it, right?
Yeah, why not? I'm Jewish. I got my reputation.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. All right. No, they're in. Hold on. All right. So who else? Let's see who else we got in here. Let me get Hold on. Let me get somebody else. Let me get what's it? AT in here. Let me get him to speak on it. Hold on. All right, AT. Turn your mic on.
Yo,
What's up, AT?
what's going on? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Go ahead, brother.
All right. Well, first and foremost, I just wanna say I appreciate everything you do for the community and for the family. I do agree. I do agree. That we should get reparations, but I actually just have a question because I do have conversations, uh, with white people about reparations and why we should get it. And my question is really just, what are some objections, because a lot of people, like a lot of white people I talk to, when I say, yeah, we should get reparations, and they say, well, this is one of the things they say. They say, well, um, if we give out reparations to black people, they're gonna spend it on blase blah. They're not gonna spend it right. They just gonna blow the money. And I just want to say, well, first of all, it's not their, it's not up to them,
Yeah.
to
It's
what
not
they do with the
what
money.
we do with the money, right?
Exactly. So my question is just, what are some other objections I can say to that to really break it down and really, Friday ass. You feel me?
Yeah, you just say, hey, look, it doesn't matter what we do with the money. You don't question what Native Americans do with their money. A lot of them, they get their money. A lot of them drink and smoke or whatever. We don't question that. Some black people are going to be constructive. Some black people might trick it off, but that doesn't matter. How we spend it is inconsequential. The fact that we get it, that's the most important thing. So when they start trying to get off on these deflective tangents, just understand that they're getting into troll territory. So don't trip on that too hard. All
Okay.
right, let me get some more people in here. All right, let me get some more folks in here. All right, we got Bleached, Based, whatever his name is. Let me get him in here.
Hey, Tariq.
Hey, what's going on, Bleached?
I'm doing good. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. So, what's your opinion about the topic today, sir?
Yeah, I think that foundational black. I'm a white person myself, but I really do think that foundational black Americans have really suffered at the hand of like whiteness and those systems.
Hmm.
So there really should be some form of reparations. I would have to agree.
Okay, perfect, good, good. Okay, that's one person from the dominant society who's agreeing with it. That's good. Let's get some other people in here. Let's get some more folks in here because yeah, this is something that we need to get into. We need to talk about this thing, and we need to stop being afraid to talk about it. Foundational Black Americans, we need tangibles, we need reparations, and we need those reparations now. What's up, Dub? Let's get Dub in here. Okay, I'm at a speaker. Okay, Dub, hop in, Dub. Put your speaker on. I mean, put your mic on. What's up, Dub?
Oh, hello. Oh, it's Dwayne, by the way.
What's up, Dwayne?
Uh, good.
You weren't you on the other day? Weren't you on the other day too?
I believe so.
Okay, okay. So what's on
But
your mind?
yeah. Well, just to let everybody know, I am in full support of reparations for
Yeah,
foundational Black Americans and those who are the descendants of slavery. But my question is this, Tariq. What I've noticed in having conversations about reparations is that you know how do I try to word this properly? Sorry, I also have this vocal tremor in my voice, so it can be kind of tricky.
right,
Um, my question is, how can we help those who are in need of reparations, making sure that they are the direct descendants of slaves? Because people in society overall have been kind of skeptical or hesitant about the power of genetic ancestry because how corporatized it is. And obviously, there's a lot of historical hesitancy within African American communities, such as the Tuskegee Airman experimentations and all that. So, how do we as a society overcome that in order for reparations to happen for the direct descendants? Just out of plain curiosity.
got it. Let me answer that. Thank you so much. Let me get y'all while I answer that. Great question, and I explained that to the gentleman earlier. There are two censuses that we can look at. We can trace back to the 1900 census and the 1870 census, and Black people, if we are on those censuses, if we can trace our lineage, if we can trace our relatives to those census stats from those years, we are 9 times out of 10 most likely to be a descendant of slaves in America because Black people were not immigrating from anywhere in any significant numbers during that time. It was very, very rare for a Black person to immigrate over here from somewhere else. It would, some places on the East Coast, they would. In New York, but very, very rarely in very rare situations. So that's the main way we can tell. If you can trace that lineage back to those censuses, and most of us can, who are foundational Black Americans. If you talk to your grandmother, your mom, your granddad, or whatever parent you were raised by, they can trace their lineage back. And look, in some cases, if you cannot, if hey, um, you just might not be eligible to get it. We're going to have paperwork and real eligibility for people to get these reparations checks because if we just leave it all open ended, we're going to have everybody and their mama coming in making false claims, and that's going to deplete the funds that are supposed to be allocated towards us. We cannot allow another $5 Indian situation where they had the dolls rolls in the 1900s and you had white people paying the census takers $5 under the table so that they could be listed as Native Americans. This is why most of the people who are Native American now, who are claiming it, they have absolutely zero Native American ancestry. These are not Native Americans in any sense of the word. So we can't let a situation like that happen. We cannot let a finesse go down. Let me get some more folks in here. And by the way, the new book, Foundational Black American Race Baiter, it is available now, right now on Amazon. I hope everybody has their copy. If you do not have your copy, go to Amazon right now and get a copy of that book. This is one of the best books you will read about race relations. Let me get some more. Who else is in here? Raise your hand if you want to get on. Raise your hand if you want to get on, lady. I see Assad Khan in here. Assad Khan. Let me get Assad Khan in here. I see he. What's up, Assad?
Uh, all I want to say is, Tariq, that I really appreciate your words, your voice, and I'm in full support. And I've been hearing the debates, and I really appreciate that you're coming out, and I'm in full support. Thank you
Much,
so much.
thank you, Asad. All right. So yes, people are supporting it. That's good. Okay, let's get this guy. Ferret Liquor. Okay, this is gonna be a piece of work. All right, Ferret Liquor. Boy, y'all got some names. Ferret, turn your mic on. What's up, Ferret? Okay, are you choking on some man meat? What are you doing in there, sir? Okay, okay. So my dude, he overdosed on mayonnaise. Okay, okay. This is the crystal meth pipe. Okay, your crystal meth. Okay, he has the warmth of a man in his mouth. So let me get him out of here and let him enjoy himself. Okay. All right, you have a nice warm man over there. Okay, we got Errol Weber. Errol Weber. Let's get Errol Weber in here. He's a black conservative from Jamaica who's a politician out here in Los Angeles. What's up, Errol?
Hey, how are you doing? I've been following your work and your posts for the past year. Thank
Yes,
you for sharing your opinion on that. I just want to get to some solutions that I think we can have a great discussion about.
yes.
I do recognize where you're coming from with the importance of foundational Black Americans getting reparations. I recognize and I understand where you're coming from with that. One of the things I want to ask is, what are some other ways that reparations can be manifested? Can it only be manifested in cash payments, or can it be manifested in other ways that involve, like, for example, business longevity for generation for building generational wealth?
We would prefer cash because when they start talking
Mhm.
about business longevity, what they do, they start trick bagging it up with minority business, disenfranchised business, people of color business, and then all of these other groups come in,
Mhm.
swoop in, and then they benefit.
All
We
right.
we're going to have to get direct checks. We're just going to have to go
Mhm.
to the
Okay.
bank. So they're going to have to send us monthly checks, just like they do every other aggrieved group, and that's going to make things right for us.
Okay, thanks for sharing that.
Hmm.
Um, so some other things I noticed generationally, of course, this didn't just affect foundational Black Americans, but many Black Americans in general. I was running in the 37th district, which is 25% Black, 25% white, 39% Latino, 9% Asian, and the median income was 46,000 a year. And when I looked at that district, I noticed that it had three historically redlined areas in it from the 1934 National Housing Act. You have Crenshaw, South LA, and Inglewood, three historically redlined areas that have seen the negative effects of not being able, of Black families not being able to get low interest federal housing loans. So, stretching back 80, 90 years, we have Black people in many Black communities across the US who have been economically locked out of their own community and unable to either renovate or sell their houses at great value because they were quite literally locked out of being able to get federal low interest loans and were relegated to subprime private loans. Now, one of the things that I think can be done, and it's multifaceted. There's no singular thing that can be done. There are multiple things that would need to be done. I believe that from a business standpoint, many of these neighborhoods have been locked out economically, especially when you look at the numbers of how the dollar has gone through the Black community. Just for example, and these numbers were from about a year and a half ago, but the Black community spends about $1.2 trillion every year, and only 2% of those Black dollars are spent in the Black community. And the Black dollar generally lasts about 6 hours in the Black community. I believe that's something that is problematic, and I want to find ways to keep the Black dollar circulating in the Black community. I recognize your need for reparations for foundational Black Americans, and also I believe it's important that we look at this greater image of how can we work to keep the Black dollar circulating more in the Black community. For context, the Asian community and the Jewish community, their dollar circulates in their community roughly 17 to 19 days. Why does it only last for 6 hours in our community? What can
Right.
we do to build businesses in our black communities
Okay.
and incentivize people to go, hey, this is something of incredible value that we can keep in our community and advertise, and hey, come to our black community, come to our community. This is what we're offering. Look at all the amazing
Okay,
things we
let's
have.
break it down. Let's
Yeah,
break it
let's break
down.
it down. Please do.
Okay, so the reason why the money doesn't circulate in the black community is because we don't technically have a community. We have a place where black folks live, but communities are
Okay.
something where black people own and control. The money bounces around the Asian community because they have Asian businesses that are not hindered by the dominant society. The money bounces around the Jewish community because they have businesses that are not hindered by the dominant society.
Okay.
Black people, we don't have our businesses because we are targeted racially by the dominant society, and almost all of our businesses are somehow hindered by the dominant society. For example, I just did a story the other day in Minnesota, a black man who had a popcorn company. He During the COVID thing, he started a simple popcorn company. He got some media attention. It started blowing up, and then all of a sudden, they sent the health inspectors to this brother's shop to shut it down.
Of
Good brother,
course.
my brother Nipsey, they had a whole task force on Nipsey Hussle's shop during surveillance on not just him, but they were shaking down customers. I'm trying to get a museum in the Crenshaw area. They've undermined me in so many different ways. And one of the buildings I wanted to get, they didn't allow me to get that, but they undersold the business to another person who wanted to start a weed shop, and the people ain't even black. So we get undermined when it comes to black people getting businesses going. So that's why we don't have nowhere to circulate our dollars other than the Asian and the Arab and the other communities. This is why when we get reparations, we also need to be listed as a protected class so that we won't be targeted, and there's going to be federal punishment for those who target us based on race, who do all of these little shakedown, shady things that they don't do to other groups. So this is why it's very important for foundational Black Americans to focus on our finances and our protection from the federal government. Now, does that make sense, brother?
I totally understand you. I got another question. When it
Yeah.
comes to representation on the state and federal level, you have Sidney Comlager, I believe it is, and you have Maria Elena Durazo, a state senator. You have Karen Bass, currently in Congress, running for LA mayor. Um, when it comes to representation from many of these communities, what is the current representation doing? And are people in these Black communities satisfied with the representation that they're getting? And if they're not satisfied, are they willing to look at other forms of representation, and what does that look like?
Well, the thing is, they tell us representation is basically getting a black person in a token position where they can't do anything for you. And the representation is supposed to be us satisfied with looking at a black face. I care not to look at the Congressional Black Caucus or any other black person who cannot do anything for other black people. You can put a damn Eskimo in there. If they're going to give me a check, put an Eskimo, Indian, I don't give a damn who you put in there. As long as they write my check, that's who I want to represent me. So we need to get to that part of the game. You understand?
Good stuff. Good
Yes,
stuff.
sir.
Okay.
All right,
Thank
Errol.
you.
Let me get some other folks in here. Thank you
Uh
so
huh.
much, brother.
Uh huh.
Oh, right. That's my brother Errol. Yeah, me and Errol, we've had disagreements. He's a Jamaican cat. Sometimes Errol be kind of bug dancing for them butter biscuits and curry goats, but but shout out to him. We had a decent conversation there. And by the way, the new book, Foundational Black American Race Beta, it is available right now. You can go to Amazon.com right now to get the book Foundational Black American Race Beta. Let's get some people who disagree. Anybody in here disagree with reparations? Raise your hand if you disagree. What's up, Felipe? I see Felipe. Who disagrees? If you disagree with reparations, raise your hand. Anybody in here disagree with it? Raise your hand if you disagree with Foundation of Black Americans getting reparations. Okay, I see some of these. I see some troll accounts already. I see some troll accounts raising their hand, and I'm talking about people who disagree in good faith. If you disagree and you're trolling, you're disagreeing in bad faith. But let's try one of these troll accounts. What's up, Maylard? What's up, Maylard? All right, put your mic on, and if you're trolling, I gotta.
Hey, good morning, Tariq.
Hey, Maylard, how are you?
How are you? It's Mallard.
Mallard. Go
I
ahead.
wanted to ask, what is the process of reparations going to look like to you? Is this going to be a lump sum, or is it going to be a monthly payment like the Indian tribes receive?
Yeah, I think it should be like the Indian tribe. I mean, there's already a template. Just do it just like the Indian tribe, just a monthly thing. You can trace the census records back to foundational Black Americans and just give checks based on that. Just make it real simple. It's not rocket science.
Okay. Is this going to replace social welfare services that blacks overwhelmingly take advantage of, or?
Do you know that the welfare capital is Owsley, Kentucky? It's 98% white, and almost every single person in that county is on welfare or SNAP. So if we're gonna talk about welfare, that's your community, buddy. That ain't black.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually black,
Yeah.
so
Okay. Oh, really?
no.
Yeah. Okay. So that's your community. Like I said, your community takes advantage of all the welfare. And let me ask you this, sir. Why is your community getting any welfare? Black people, we've been undermined and we've been economically disenfranchised and targeted. So I'm surprised more black
Yeah,
people
there's
are on
many
welfare.
broken bucks. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Okay. Broken bucks. So why is anybody in your community on welfare, in your opinion? Okay. Well, he got off there. Okay. He hung up. He tried to throw some trolling in there. Then he got his ass up out of here. He didn't want to go talk for real, for real. If we're gonna talk about some welfare, let's talk about some of these all white counties where damn near everybody's on welfare. You don't want to go there. He got off very quickly. Oh, he didn't want to go there. Oh, you didn't want to go there. You better look up Owsley County, Kentucky. That's literally the welfare capital of the United States. It's an all-white town, and almost every single person there is on welfare and food stamps. Look that up. Don't play games. Don't play games, sir. Go to Amazon to get the book Foundational Black American Race Beta. Now let's get some more folks in here. See, when the white supremacist suspects tap out, they get to trolling. Your trolling backfires on you. Let's get some more people in here. Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you want to speak up. Well, so let's get Peter in here. All right, Peter, hop on in here, brother. We got Peter in here. And I can't pronounce your last name, Peter, but turn your mic on if you wanted to say something, sir. Oh, Peter didn't want to. Okay. All right. Some of y'all are requesting. All right. Let's get D in here. All right. What's up, D? Let's get D. All right. Your name is just D. D, turn your microphone on.
Oh, hello. Hey,
What's up, D?
nothing much.
Oh,
I guess basically on the topic of reparations. I mean, I agree. I think
okay.
that so I am first generation Nigerian American.
Yeah.
So when it comes to that, like when reparations should be distributed, I think that people like me or my family shouldn't be particularly included in that because we didn't suffer. Well, we suffer from white supremacy under the era of colonialism, but not directly under slavery within the United States. But say for African Americans or foundational Americans, how should how should it be like distributed, like cash, land, university? Because I
Cash.
know, for example,
Just cash. We'll buy everything else ourselves. We can buy the universities ourselves. We can buy the land ourselves. Just give us the cash, and we can make it do what it do with the cash. Just
yeah,
cash. Because when it comes to land and all this other stuff, they'll try to trick bag it up. Just direct cash, and we'll figure out what to do with it on our own. And some people use the adage, well, if black people get the money, they're going to trick it all. Yeah, there's some who might. I'm not. And if anybody has a problem with it, give me your check and I'll show you how to flip it. But all of us are not going to trick it off. Many of us are going to do the right thing with it. And they just should allocate the funds and just leave it at that. But let me get some more folks in here, buddy. Thank you so much, man. All right, let me get some more people in here. Okay, we got John V. Professor. He's a professor. Let's get John in here. John V. He was a professor. He's a professor somewhere. What's up, John V? All right, how are
Yes,
you, Miss? No,
good.
you're a professor. Now, where are you a professor at?
Wake Forest University.
Okay. All right. So
Yeah,
what do you think what do you think about the topic of reparations?
very interesting topic. I'm not sure if I agree or disagree because I feel like I need to know more before I need to read your book, I guess.
Yeah.
But I think the question I had was actually with regard to welfare. So I've been reading a lot about the issue, and economists have since the I think early 70s, mid 70s, people like Thomas Sowell, Walter Williams, Milton Friedman had warned against some of the disadvantages of welfare. I know my mother actually was, she's an only child. Father left when she was 7. She actually benefited from welfare, through that system.
Right.
She always felt it was supposed to be temporary, but she did benefit from it. But anyway, a lot of economists, and Thomas Sowell even argues even today that there were many more disadvantages of it. And I'm just wondering, does it work? Does anything like welfare actually work? I mean, what's the evidence suggesting that it does work? And I'm just wondering if you agree whether or not there are more disadvantages than advantages to a system like that.
Well, the thing is, I mean, what are the majority of people on welfare are white? So what are the disadvantages to white society? People look at it as this big disadvantage to black society. Why doesn't it have the same impact on white people? And white people get more welfare than black people per capita based on numbers.
Yeah, I'm not so sure if it doesn't have the same, and obviously there's going to be a greater number because there's a greater proportion of
Right.
whites, right? But
right. So the same dysfunctions should carry over to white society. People always talk about the dysfunction that comes with welfare in the black community, but they never talk about that same dysfunction as it relates to the dominant white society. Why is it a pathology when it comes to black people who are supposed to be on welfare? And also, why are black people on welfare, period? When you look at
what do you mean by pathology, though?
They make it seem, well, the adage, especially from a lot of conservatives, is that being on welfare makes black people lazy, and it took the father out of the home, and the father being out of the home created a criminal class. So they pathologize it. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to black society, but they don't do the same with white society, and there's more white people on welfare. Why do you think that is?
And who is that? Who are they? When you refer to they?
Oh, I'm talking about the dominant society. When I talk about they, I'm talking about a lot of the media, and a lot of the white supremacist think tanks. They put these narratives.
Portrayed, yes,
yeah, they put these narratives out. So this is something that a lot of these think tanks cook up. So why don't they do the same thing for white people who are on welfare?
Yeah. So I don't have the answer to that. I'm not sure why, but I just wondered. Like, I mean, it has the welfare system. So has it helped or hurt? Has it helped or hurt Black Americans? Maybe it has. Maybe it, and I don't know if it's been more helpful or hurtful to white Americans either. I mean, you seem to suggest that it hasn't had the same. It doesn't have the same effect.
The thing is, black people were hurt before welfare. So I'm trying to see compared to what you say help or hurt, and I wanted to see what help or hurt compared to what, because even before welfare was created or allocated to black people, and understand at one point black people could not get welfare. Welfare was actually created for white women in the 1930s because white men were working in dangerous jobs like coal mines and certain factories where they would die at younger ages, so they needed to take care of white women. Black people really started getting welfare in significant numbers in the 60s, but the welfare system as we know it has been going on since the 1930s. But at that time, we were living in a Jim Crow era where black people were being openly lynched. So when we talk about help or hurt, compared to what?
Yeah, well, I guess one comparison could that should also be considered. I mean, we didn't have child labor laws until I think the late 1930s, I believe, until like 1939. So there were still a lot of children that were working in factories, breaking coal. I mean, but millions and millions of them. I mean, and I just wonder, well, and a lot of them were white and a lot of them were black. I mean, is there any movement for reparations for that? I mean, I don't know. I mean, it seems like every group could make some argument, and that's what I fear, is that each group will then get in line and make some kind of argument that's unwarranted.
What other group was forced into slavery, forced to sell their children, and forced into a Jim Crow system in America? What other group was subjected to that?
Well, obviously none. I mean, none that I or anyone else would seem to suggest. But I just wonder. I just think that what will happen possibly is
Chuck,
that some people will say, well, we built this country too, and they'll make that argument, and then I just don't know what the what the 98-page form is going to look like to be eligible. You know what I mean?
Because most of these other groups are immigrants. They can't claim to build a country that they immigrated to. Foundational Black Americans, we're the only non-immigrant group. We didn't immigrate anywhere. We didn't immigrate here. We didn't come to a country that was already developed. We built the country from scratch. No other group can claim that at all. So that makes us completely different. This is why our claim is unique. That makes sense?
Oh, that's definitely obviously unique. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, thanks for having the panel. It's interesting discussion.
Thank you so much, Mr. John. That's Mr. John V. All right. You guys, again, you can get the book Foundation of Black American Race Beta. Boy, it's a lot of folks in here on a beautiful Saturday afternoon. There's a lot of Black folks in here and a lot of people in here today. A lot of folks in here. Let me see who else. Let's get a couple of more people in here. Let me get a couple of more people in here to speak on the topic. We're having a very good discussion. See, this is how we should have discussions. We should talk about things in a very calm and logical way. We'll get a couple of trolls coming in trying to divert the energy. Shout out to B1 San Diego. That's my partner right there. Shout out to B1. Y'all need to follow B1 San Diego. Let me see. Raise your hand. If you want to get on, raise your hand. If you want to speak on it, raise your hand. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to speak on it, raise your hand. If you want to speak, raise your hand. Let me see some of the people in here. Okay, let me see. Where you at, folks? Where you at? If you want to speak, raise your hand. Okay, let me get Brother Edward in here. I get Edward in here. All right, Edward, let me get you in here. Edward, speak on it. Turn your microphone on. What's up, Sinclair? I see you, brother. Turn your mic on, Edward. Edward, turn your mic on. This brother has a T-Mobile sidekick. Brother, there you go. Edward, turn your speaker on, brother. Edward, I don't know how you were able to download the Twitter app on a T-Mobile sidekick, brother. And he doesn't know how to turn his speaker on. Edward, come on, bro. This brother trying to, he had to get off. Edward, listen, y'all better have your technology game in order. All right, don't request, and then you don't know how to turn your speaker on. All right? Do not make a request and you don't know how to turn your speaker on. Let's get Azeglio. All right, let's get Azeglio on here. All right, Mr. Azeglio, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. How are you, Tariq?
I'm good. Where you? Are you in America? What city? What country are you from?
I'm American. I live in the Northeast.
Okay, that name Azeglio, is that Italian, Greek? What is that name?
Yeah, Azeglio. It's Italian.
Oh, okay. So what's on your mind? What do you think about the topic?
Well, all right. When I just came into this maybe like 5 or 6 speakers ago, and there was a guy that you were engaging with, and you were really emphasizing the point of census and how that kind of ties into your whole idea here. Right. So, I mean, I'll tell you about myself. I'm a blue-collar guy. My family didn't get to America until like 1915. Like we don't appear on any censuses before that. So I guess my question is like, I haven't really received any generational handouts or wealth. Nothing's been streamlined for me, or made more available or cheaper because I'm white. I guess I just don't understand like why I would be on the hook for reparations. And
great question. When your family came over here from Italy, they may have had 5 cents or a quarter in their pocket, which I always hear the narrative. My family came over with 25 cents, but let me tell you something. They came over with $1 million worth of whiteness. They came over here to this country because they knew and they heard that whiteness means something and whiteness had something of value. And they came over here to a country that was built by my family for absolutely free. And your ancestors got that generational wealth and it was locked into white society. So it was a major come up for them. Don't matter how much money they had in their pocket. They came over here and they got benefits benefits and goodies based on being white. White supremacy is a affirmative action program within itself. It's based on goodies, tangible set asides, and privileges based on being born white or classified as white. And when your family came over here from Italy, they were also able to set up shop legitimately, and they were also able to set up an underground economy with the mafia, and their whiteness protected them from a lot of prosecution within the mafia. They were able to have an organized crime syndicate all over this country, and the federal government looked the other way. That was based on their whiteness. Black people couldn't do anything like that. So their whiteness benefited them on every single level. That's why they're on the hook, because they benefited from coming over to the country that Foundation of Black Americans built for
But
absolutely free.
but Tariq, but you're holding me accountable for a network and a whole network of like wealth and interpersonal connections that I have not benefited from that at all. My parents didn't benefit from that at all. None of us are in the mafia or were in the mafia. And I mean, historically,
I said
Italians.
above ground and I said underground. So I didn't
Right,
mention
but
just the mafia.
Italians in even in Massachusetts where I live, like they were pretty much forced into small enclaves. They weren't treated like just regular white people. They were looked at as just like subhuman monkeys for a long time,
I
especially
know
for a
that.
lot of the period that you're talking about.
And
So
that's why the mafia, and that's why they had the mafia get started. They had the underground economy because they were marginalized,
yeah,
because they were
every
called
race had
guineas.
some kind of organized crime within it. That doesn't mean that I benefited from that at all,
Didn't say,
like in any material sense.
I didn't say that.
But that's your
Let's
whole
not
implication. Then why did you bring it up? Why would you use that as a point?
I brought up did you hear me say the legitimate society of Italian society and the underground? I brought up both. You just focused on the mafia side so you can frame a narrative. Even the non-mafia people, I didn't say all Italian people were part of organized crime. Let's not run with a fake narrative. Even the legitimate businesses, they benefited. Even legitimate Italian society benefited from whiteness, and that whiteness passes down to you. All the secondary gains and benefits, it passes down to you to this day. You get the privileges and benefits of being white. So you do benefit from it, sir.
Yeah, I just have a hard time seeing that. That's like, well, we can move on from that. I just have one other thing I wanted to ask you about.
Hmm.
So I guess another thing that you had mentioned was okay. So pertaining to the legitimate side of things, um, if you see that like the bureaucracy of and look, man, like I'm a libertarian. Like I'm against like
Wait,
all the government interference with all this shit over the years. But if you're able to very rightly point a finger at the massive bureaucracy that we live under for causing a lot of problems, why would more bureaucracy fix your problem? Like you're suggesting that you're going to create some sort of bureaucracy that I don't know taxes Americans and then redistributes that money to the people that you've chosen through your own the program you've described. Like what assurance have you like historically just looking at how every government program has worked out so far? Why on earth would that work? Nothing works in this country, and I mean you got to understand that by this point, right, Tariq? Like
no,
why would a reparations bureau work for you? Like how can you think that with any level of confidence?
because white supremacy works. White supremacy works like a charm. That's why they maintain it. White supremacy works on every single level, and white supremacy is a reparation system for people classified as white, and it works like a charm. You get benefits and privileges based on whiteness, and it works. That's why
That's
they keep trying to
Tariq.
maintain that system.
Tariq, that's so untrue, man. I
How is it? Okay,
honestly,
prove that.
I don't know a single white person that has received anything because they were white. That like, listen, I'm like, all right. For
Really,
example,
really,
I'm a licensed master electrician. Okay,
really.
I did
Oh,
not go into the state board of examiners and just say, hey, I'm a white guy. I'm here to get my electrician license. And they were like, oh yeah, here you go, man. No, it took years and years of working my balls off for that. All I've
mm.
had is my work ethic the whole time. Same with my father. He didn't
So you
receive
mean
anything.
so
He
you went
worked his
to a
ass off.
so where did you learn that? Where did you learn that?
To work hard.
No, no, no. Where did you get your degree? You had to go to some school, right?
Yeah, I went to a trade school.
Okay, now you do understand that there were trade schools and schools all around this country that black people were not allowed to go to based on their race, right?
Did I have anything to do with
I
that?
don't matter, but you benefited from it.
No, I didn't benefit
Yes, you
from
did.
that.
Anybody who's white,
How
they
on earth
benefit.
did I benefit
You
from that?
benefit from you benefit from being able to go to schools
Tariq, there are black
historically.
guys in the class with me.
Dude, you have benefited from being able to go to schools historically that black people were not allowed to go to. Yeah, just because
Historically,
they're
I've only lived 30 years. How are you holding
dude,
me accountable for something that happened 100 years ago?
you benefited from what happened 100 years ago. You still
How?
benefit from it. You because of the secondary gains that was passed down.
I did. I
What do you
already
mean? How?
told you I didn't receive any secondary
Yes,
gains.
you did, based
I
on
had three
whiteness. Of
thousand
course, you
dollars in
did.
my bank account like 5 years ago, dude, and now
Dude,
I'm
don't
making three
matter.
hundred
But you got
thousand
a
dollars
million
a year.
dollar. You have $1 million worth of whiteness now. You don't
I'm
three
yet to
dollars.
receive that check, Tariq.
No. Yo, that whiteness is a check. We saw that with Kyle Rittenhouse. The Kyle Rittenhouse trial was showing you how he got $1 million worth of legal help
Was
based
that
on
the
his
wait? Was
whiteness.
that the kid that defended himself against somebody
There
trying to
you
kill him?
go. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. I
that
remember that
right
guy.
there, that
Yeah.
that right there is how you benefit. You get benefits, privileges based on whiteness, and y'all get on
No, that
code, and
was
you're just
that was called
uh,
due process
no,
with the jury.
that's called I'm white and I say so, which is a benefit from white supremacy, sir. That's the I'm white and I say so factor. You get to do that based on whiteness. That's a benefit. See?
Going to court?
No.
But everybody gets to go to court.
Name a black person to go in court and have a judge act as a defense attorney for them on the bench. Name one case where that happened.
I don't really pay attention to that stuff.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. All right. All right. All right. Thank you. So yeah, when you ask them to show a situation where a black person is getting the same benefit, well, I don't really watch trials like that. Thank you. All right. All right. There you go. There it is. See, that's your benefit right there. You're sitting up caping for Kyle Rittenhouse. That's your benefit right there. Kyle Rittenhouse got $1 million worth of legal assistance on live television. And this caller was right there in agreement with it. That's called white supremacy and white privilege and white benefit. That man had millions of dollars worth of legal assistance on live television. And this guy was cool in the gang with that because he wants the same thing too. He understands that whiteness will afford you that. See, black folks, don't let these folks fool you with all that. I only got $3, dude. I only have $540, bro. Don't know. You got $1 million worth of whiteness. Let's be very clear. And they know the value of that in a system of white supremacy. Y'all better get my book, Foundational Black American Race Beta. Y'all better get that book. It's a very, very good book. Y'all go to Amazon and get that book right now. Go to Amazon right now and get that book. Let me get out here and get on the roller scooter with my family. All right. I'm about to go out here and rollerblade with my kids right now. But I hope everybody has a great Saturday afternoon. And I hope this was a great learning session today. I try to make it constructive so that we can all learn. All right. But everybody have a great afternoon and go get the book right now on Amazon, Foundational Black American Race Beta. Y'all have a great afternoon.